Why do we work all hours of the night? Head towards challenges instead of turning away. And work together to solve the toughest problems. So you can enjoy the little things. And all the big moments life has to offer. Tri-State and Highline Electric Association. Brighter, stronger, better together.
Hi, I'm Ron. Even when you practice safe work habits on the farm, accidents can happen. If you come in contact with a power line, first call 911. And in most cases, it is safest to stay in the vehicle until help arrives. If it is necessary to get out of the vehicle, remember to never touch the vehicle and the ground at the same time. Jump away from the vehicle, making sure both feet land at the same time. Continue to hop away with both feet or shuffle your feet without lifting them until you are at least 30 feet away from the vehicle. Alert people nearby to stay away and do not return to the vehicle until it is determined safe.
A message from Highline Electric Association.
Highline Electric Association will be holding a photo contest throughout the year. Photos should be taken during each of the seasons, winter, spring, summer, and fall, in Highline's territory. Submit a photo with a brief description, your name, and member name if different, to info@hea.coop. HEA members, directors, employees, and their family members are eligible to participate. The limit is 2 photos per person. For each category, first place will receive $50 and second place will receive $25. The deadline for winter is April 1st, spring, July 1st, summer, October 1st, and fall, January 1st of 2022. Winners will be notified by the end of each deadline month. For additional information, please visit our website at www.hea.coop. Highline is electrified to offer members an EV experience with the Model 3 Tesla. Available starting in June, please call 970-854-2236 or email info@hea.coop to reserve your 30-minute EV experience. Must be 21 years or older to drive and have a valid driver's license and insurance. Highline Electric has a dual-head Level 2 EV charging station now ready for use at our headquarters in Holyoke. In January, a wire connecting ceremony was performed. Pictured here from left to right is Tri-State G&T Relationship Manager Sander Blackburn, HEA General Manager Dennis Herman, and HEA Manager of Member Services Thaddeus Hoosier. The Highline Electric annual report will begin shortly.
Hello, I'm Jim Jackson, the Chief Financial Officer at Highline Electric Association. Thank you for attending the virtual annual meeting and hope we provide you with information concerning your cooperative that you find meaningful and helpful. As a reminder, the following information is preliminary as our financial records at this point are not audited. I would like to begin by talking about kilowatt hour purchases and sales. The cooperative purchased 500,207,7 797 kilowatt hours in 2020. The vast majority, 483,492,669 kilowatt hours, was from our power supplier, Tri-State Generation and Transmission. 13,157,875 kilowatt hours was purchased through a project which electricity is generated by waste heat. 3,517,366 hours was generated from Highline's solar generation subsidiary company. The total purchases were an increase by 45 million kilowatt hours compared to 2019. I would like to mention that both Highline Electric sales and purchases of electricity are highly dependent on weather, which compared to 2019 was warmer and drier. The cooperative sold to you, our members, 469,461,490 kilowatt hours, an increase of 46 million from 2019. Irrigation accounted for the largest share at 54.5% of the kilowatt hours sold. Large commercial followed with 27.1%, residential at 13.8%, and small commercial with 4.6%. Operating revenues for 2020 were $52,713,406, which is an increase of $2.3 million compared to 2019. The increase in revenue is mainly due to increased sales in the irrigation class due to weather being warmer and drier than 2019. Take note of the red tips on 3 of these columns. The red amounts symbolize deferred revenue that was used in these years to help meet financial goals. Our major lender, the Rural Utility Service, allows us to defer revenue in years which we may have exceptionally strong margins and recognize those in subsequent years. In years 2015, 2018, and 2019, we used $800,000, $300,000, and $1 million respectively of deferred revenue. This slide shows operating margins before and after adjustments for deferred revenue. Our operating margins in 2020 were $1,699,074 before the deferment of $1.7 million of revenue, and a negative $926 after the deferment. Our operating margins in 2019 were a negative $1,934,906 before the recognition of $1 million of deferred revenue, and a negative $934,906 after the recognition. Deferring revenue and still having negative operating margins, Highline was able to meet all our mortgage requirements. The most stringent of these requirements is O-tier, or operating times interest earned ratio. O-tier is a function of interest on long-term debt, operating margins, and cash received from Tri-State for capital credit retirements. Our mortgage requires that our O-tier, when averaged over 2 years, remains above a minimum level. Our operating margin in 2020, although negative, was enough to keep us in good standing with our lenders, with help from our non-operating margins. Highline's operating margins are generated from the sale of electricity to the members. There are other non-operating margins that Highline receives from cooperatives in which we are members. Tri-State represents Highline's largest investment in other cooperatives. Highline's total margins for 2020 was $1,241,691. This is comprised of Highline's generated operating margins of $1,699,074, the deferred revenue of $1.7 million, $1,139,602 that were generated by our memberships in Tri-State, Western United, CoBank, and CFC, and $103,015 in interest and other non-operating income. In 2020, the Board of Directors approved a capital credit refund that included 73% of outstanding Highline capital credits from 2005, 100% of the outstanding Tri-State capital credits from 1989, and 19% of the outstanding Tri-State capital credits from 1999, for a total general retirement of $2,745,833. This slide shows our capital credit allocation and refunds since 1948. We have accrued capital credits over $110 million. We have refunded to estates $5.1 million, and again, our general refund in 2020 was $2,745,833. Refunds in prior years were $45.4 million, totaling $53.2 million returned to our members since 1948. Your member capital credit balance is $54.7 million, of which $13.1 million is comprised of equity in Highline, and $41.6 million represents equity in Tri-State and other cooperatives. We are currently on a 15-year retirement cycle for Highline capital credits, and as Tri-State retires capital credits to Highline, we return the money to our members through retiring Tri-State capital credits. For year 2020, the cooperative ended with $7,851,123 in cash and investments, an increase compared to 2019. The increase was mainly due to a loan the cooperative received. Our work plan determined the cooperative would need a loan to invest in system improvements, and with interest rates extremely low in 2020, a decision was made to enter into a loan and take advantage of these low interests. Highline continues to maintain a strong balance sheet. We ended 2020 with an equity level of 45.9%. Although year 2020 shows a decrease compared to previous years, this is still a great level. Equity measures the extent that you as members have financed in plant in lieu of borrowed capital. Although this slide shows no new miles of line was built, we actually did build 3 miles of new overhead line and 1 mile of underground line. But we also retired 4 miles of transmission line, which shows a net being built of 0. The cooperative has 5,170 miles of line, 10,878 meters, and averages 2 meters per mile. The national average for cooperatives is 6 meters per mile of line. We are a rural system, a mature system, and a slow-growing system. These factors require rebuilding or replacing distribution plant as it reaches the end of its useful life. In a fast-growing system, much of the system plant is new. In a mature system like Highline, we budget for upgrades and rebuilds to maintain reliable service to the members. Highline's utility plant ended the year valued at $112 million, which is $4.1 million increase over last year. In the last 6 years, we have spent $12.9 million to build and maintain your system plant to meet your needs. The cost to maintain our plant and make sure electricity is available, basically the cost of operating Highline, was 15% of our total expenses in 2020. Depreciation and interest were about 9%, and our cost of wholesale power was 76% of our expenses. As you can see, what happens at the generation and transmission level with Tri-State has a very large impact on your energy bill. And what else you can see is that we operate and keep electricity available to the members on a very slim portion of the bill the member pays. I'd like to point out that the operating cost for year 2020 was reduced by a little over $1 million by the impact of being awarded a payroll protection plan loan through the Small Business Administration, which is designed to offset labor costs during the COVID pandemic. This loan is designed to be forgiven when certain criteria are met. We have applied for this loan to be forgiven, and we are awaiting confirmation by the Small Business Administration. In closing, I would like to say thank you for your time and thank you for being a member of Highline Electric Association. I hope the information provided shows your association is doing well and is financially stable. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I would like to welcome you to Highline Electric Association's annual update. I'm Dennis Herman, the General Manager at Highline. We are all looking forward to the day when we can hold our annual meeting in person. Unfortunately, we're not quite there yet. In the absence of an in-person meeting, we have chosen to use the tools we have available to us to provide you with an update on your cooperative. While this isn't our preferred means of communicating with you, we hope you find this update informative and beneficial. I'm going to spend the next few minutes providing you with an update on Tri-State Generation and Transmission Association, our wholesale electric power supplier, updating you on what's new at Highline, and taking a closer look at a few aspects of Highline's financials and their impacts on our retail rates. In addition, I would encourage you to take a few minutes to read the written reports of your directors who represent Highline on the boards of other organizations. These reports include Tri-State, our cooperatively owned wholesale electric supplier, Western United Electric Supply, our cooperatively owned material supplier, and the Colorado and Nebraska Rural Electric Associations, our statewide organizations that work on our behalf with our state legislatures and regulators. It has been an active year for Tri-State. A good portion of the activity is due to member unrest. Delta Montrose Electric Association became the second Tri-State member to exit their contract by buying out. Tri-State formed a contract committee that was tasked with determining an exit methodology or algorithm for calculating a contract termination payment. As this committee was nearing completion of their work, United Power and La Plata Electric filed a complaint with the Colorado Public Utilities Commission, requesting that the PUC determine contract termination payments for the two cooperatives. The complaint was heard in front of an administrative law judge who ultimately recommended the contract termination payment put forth by United Power to the commission. There was concern at Tri-State that the regulatory environment that they operate in could become extremely difficult to navigate if regulatory agencies in each of the 4 states that Tri-State operates in choose to exert regulatory jurisdiction over Tri-State. In an effort to provide some regulatory certainty, Tri-State took steps to subject themselves to regulation by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. Regulation by the FERC has preempted the Colorado PUC's jurisdiction over Tri-State. This preemption has led to the dismissal of United and La Plata's complaint at the Colorado PUC. Tri-State currently has a number of open dockets at the FERC. These dockets will ultimately determine Tri-State's rate as well as the contract termination methodology, which could also impact Tri-State's rates going forward. United Power has filed 2 lawsuits in Colorado courts in an effort to get their complaint reinstated at the Colorado PUC. Tri-State has filed an energy resource plan with the Colorado PUC in accordance with state law. This energy resource plan, along with Tri-State's published Responsible Energy Plan, calls for the retirement of all coal-fired resources in Colorado. In addition, the current iteration of the Energy Resource Plan projects that Tri-State will not utilize their portion of the Laramie River Station coal-fired power plant in Wheatland, Wyoming, beginning in 2033. Tri-State, along with neighboring utilities in Colorado, worked with the Southwest Power Pool to create the Western Energy Imbalance Service in February. This is the first step towards a full day-ahead energy market in Tri-State service territory. The establishment of a fully functioning energy market in Colorado is imperative to the success of Tri-State's Responsible Energy Plan, as well as Tri-State's ability to meet the mandates for reduction in carbon dioxide emissions established by the Colorado legislature. Tri-State has established a goal to reduce the rates they charge their members by a total of 8% over the next 4 years. Their ability to meet this goal is imperative to Highline's ability to keep rates stable over the coming years. I'll explain in more detail in just a few minutes. The last year has seen a number of changes at Highline as well. We now offer loans to our membership for the purpose of implementing energy efficiency improvements through the USDA's Rural Energy Savings Program. This program provides loan funds for a variety of energy efficiency upgrades ranging from building envelope improvements to high efficiency appliances. Loan terms include interest rates as low as 3% and terms up to 10 years. Loan payments are added to your monthly electric bill. It is a goal of the program that the energy savings from the improvement more than offsets the amount of the loan payment. More information and loan applications are available on our website at www.hea.coop. Enhancements to Highline's beneficial electrification and efficiency rebate program this year include the addition of outdoor power equipment and electric vehicle charger installation rebates. The outdoor power equipment rebates are available for electric mowers, snow blowers, leaf blowers, chainsaws, pruners, trimmers, pressure washers, and bicycles. The EV charging rebates provide for up to 50% of the cost of a level 2 charger. We've entered the 3rd year of the planned 3-year deployment of our automatic meter infrastructure, or AMI project. This new metering technology is being deployed from east to west across our service territory. 70% of the meters have been replaced with the new technology. We installed a level 2 electric vehicle charger at our headquarters in Holyoke for public use. This installation was accomplished with no direct cost to our members through the use of grant funds available through the Colorado Energy Office. We are considering the future installation of another level 2 or DC fast charging station at another location within our service territory, utilizing other funding sources that are available. Tri-State has purchased a handful of electric vehicles that are available to be checked out and utilized by their member cooperatives. Highline had the use of a Chevy Bolt for a month and a Tesla Model Y for a month. We took advantage of this opportunity to provide our members with the opportunity to experience this new technology firsthand. If you've not had the chance to experience an EV yet, we have reserved their Tesla Model 3 for this coming June. We will continue to bring these electric vehicles on site periodically. You knew I couldn't get through this report without mentioning COVID. Our goal throughout the pandemic has been to minimize the impact on the service we provide to our membership. The largest departure from normal due to COVID has been the cancellation of the 2020 and 2021 annual meetings. From an operational perspective, I believe we have been able to minimize the impact COVID has had on our interactions with our members. One silver lining to the pandemic is the Paycheck Protection Program. Highline applied for and received a loan under the PPP. The anticipated forgiveness of this loan allowed us to achieve the strong financial results that Jim reviewed in his report. My vocabulary expanded in June when I was introduced to a new word, derecho. For those of you who are curious, a derecho is defined as a widespread, long-lived, straight-line windstorm that is associated with a fast-moving group of severe thunderstorms known as a mesoscale convective system and potentially riving hurricanic or tornadic forces. Woo, that was a mouthful. But the bottom line is the fact that these storms occasionally rival hurricane or tornadic force winds. Highline experienced approximately 250 broken poles across our service territory as a result of these storms. We are grateful for the assistance provided by our neighbors from Morgan County REA and Midwest Electric in making repairs to our system. We continued to experience ongoing problems throughout the summer as a result of equipment that was damaged during this wind event. February 2021 brought another blast from Mother Nature with the arrival of Winter Storm Uri. The storm brought record or near record low temperatures to a large swath of Middle America. While Highline's electrical system was not directly impacted, we did feel the impacts of the storm. The combination of record high electrical demand coupled with several forms of generation being knocked offline by the cold temperatures resulted in rolling blackouts in the Eastern Interconnect. The electrical grid in the United States is made up of 3 isolated grids. While there are a few locations where power can be moved between the grids through the use of direct current ties, the ability to move power between the 3 grids is extremely limited. Highline is uniquely situated with part of our system in the Western Interconnect and part in the Eastern Interconnect. Our position straddling the 2 grids meant that Highline could provide assistance to the stressed Eastern Interconnect by switching load from the east to the west. This ability limited the need for Highline and other Tri-State members in the Eastern Interconnect to have to experience the rolling blackouts that were being utilized to keep the grid from experiencing massive outages. The downside was that Highline's members had to experience a series of momentary outages as the load was being switched from the east to the west. I'll conclude my report by taking a little deeper dive into a few aspects of our financials and the impact they have on rates. We advanced $9.1 million on our new loan with the Rural Utilities Service. As you know, interest rates are at historically low levels, and this advance has a 30-year fixed rate of 1.13%. The weighted average interest rate for all of our long-term debt is 2.85%. This graph shows the rate increases Highline received in our wholesale rate from Tri-State in 2016 and 2017, and our attempt to insulate Highline members from the effect of these increases. Highline's wholesale power costs increased nearly 8% between 2015 and 2017. Highline increased retail rates to our members by 5% during the same period. We implemented another 1% increase last year, resulting in a cumulative increase of 6% over the last 5 years. We've been able to keep from passing the entire wholesale increase onto our members through the use of deferred revenue. This chart contains a lot of information. The first column shows the operating margin for each year prior to adjustments for deferred revenue. The next two columns show adjustments that were made utilizing deferred revenue. Specifically, we set excess revenue aside in 2013, 2015, and 2020, and supplemented revenue shortfalls in 2018 and 2019. The next column shows the operating margin for the year after the deferred revenue adjustment, and the far right column shows the running balance in the deferred revenue account. As you look down the first column, you will notice that Highline experiences large swings in operating margins, due largely to differences in irrigation sales. It is our intent to utilize the deferred revenue balance to offset the need for rate increases for the next 4 years until Tri-State is able to deliver on their goal of reducing Highline's wholesale rate by 8%. This is our commitment to our members. It drives what we as an organization do every day. I would like to thank you for viewing this update on your cooperative. Please submit any questions you have via chat. Thank you. Questions for either Jim or myself, that you enter those into the chat. Our next item of business is to announce our 2021 scholarship winners. So we'll do that now. The winner of our $1,000 Basin Electric member cooperative consumer is Tristan Roll of Holyoke High School. That's a $1,000 scholarship. The winners of the $1,000 Highline Electric Scholarship, and this is the renewable for 4-year scholarship, are Mallory Kaiser of Sterling High School and Andrea Kuntz of Lone Star High School. The winner of the $1,000 Highline Electric one-time to be used at a 4-year college or university are Emma Richardson of Yuma High School, Cole Sigmund of Fleming High School, and Haley Van Overbeck of Holyoke High School. Excuse me. The winners of the $1,000 Highline Electric scholarships to be used at a 2-year or technical school are Riley Grauberger of Caliche High School, Alyssa Hill of Sterling High School, Kendall Kirkwood of Fleming High School, and Andrea Merrick of Caliche High School. The winner of the $1,000 Highline Electric Scholarship to be used at a lineman school is Tristan Cochran of Chase County High School. And finally, the winners of the $500 Tri-State G&T Highline Electric Association scholarships are Shelby Block of Yuma High School and Kirsten Bowler of Sterling High School. We had a contested election this year in District 3. That contested election was between incumbent David Kinnison and challenger TJ Ament, and the winner of that election is David Kinnison. So David will continue to serve District 3 for the next 3 years. At this time, I'd ask if we have any questions.
Does Highline have any plans for upcoming renewable energy projects?
So that's something that we're continually evaluating. We're somewhat limited based on our contract with Tri-State. Tri-State allows us to generate 5% of our own energy. And then we can do a carve out for a community solar project. Those two things are things that, again, like I said, we constantly evaluate. We are getting very close to the 5% that we're allowed under Tri-State's board policy. So the one remaining thing is the community solar project. We are in the process of evaluating that. We're kind of on hold at the moment because that rate has been filed for approval with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And so we're waiting to see the outcome of that rate at the FERC before we make any final decisions. Any other questions?
Will Highline's deferred revenue be enough to avoid a rate increase?
That's a great question. And I'll let Jim weigh in on this as well. The best answer I have is we hope so. Our plan right now is to utilize, we have after 2020, we deferred an additional $1.7 million, and we had $700,000. We're hopeful that $2.4 million will be enough to carry us through. As you noticed on my slides, we have not increased rates quite as much as Tri-State has increased to Highline. What we're hopeful for is going into the future. Tri-State has a stated written goal of rate reduction. And they're hoping to reduce their rate by 8% between now and 2024. So to the extent that Tri-State is successful in reducing their rate and those rates are approved by the FERC, then we will have plenty of deferred revenue to get through the coming couple of years. An additional possibility that would help Highline a great deal is legislation that's currently being proposed at the federal level that would allow us to reprice all of our RUS and federal financing bank debt at current rates. Current Treasury rates are about 2% or under, so the ability to refinance our current loans at current rates would mean several $100,000s a year in savings. So the combination of Tri-State's goal of reducing rates and the possibility of being able to refinance debt at a lower rate lead me to believe that the current deferred revenue will be enough to get us through the next several years without a rate increase to our members. Any other questions? Oh, Jim, did you want to add anything on that?
No, I think you did a good job of explaining that.
Okay.
Has Highline seen a positive impact from the Riverview Solar project?
The short answer is no. That project, as designed, is about a break-even project, and what I mean by that is the annual payment we have. Highline built that project and sold it to CoBank, and we lease it back from CoBank. So the difference between the lease payment and the reduced price that we pay for the energy output from there, and when you compare that to what we would have paid for the energy from Tri-State, it's about a break-even. So we're not realizing a big current benefit from that. The idea is that eventually we will realize a benefit, and that comes when we get through that lease, which was a 9-year lease. So as we get to the end of that lease, there's a little bit of residual value or a payment that needs to be made. We'll make that residual payment, and then that's when we'll really start to see big benefits from that project. Do we have any other questions? Okay. We'd like to thank everyone for attending our online annual update. And we always welcome any questions you have anytime. Just give us a call, and we're happy to answer those for you. So with that, thanks again, and we hope to see everyone soon and in person, either at a membership meeting later this year or at a minimum at the 2022 annual meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for attending our 2021 annual report. We hope to meet in person later in the year. Please watch our website, social media, and CCL magazine. Annual meeting gifts are ready for pickup at any of our 3 offices.